At 11 o'clock a.m., 400 feet above their tent, Tom and Willi encountered the crux of the route, a 60-foot wall of crumbly, dead vertical limestone that blocked passage to the peak's uppermost ramparts. With a great deal of effort and some very sketchy climbing, they ascended the cliff in 2 short but exceedingly technical pitches. Climbing of such difficulty had never been done at such extreme altitude. Once they were above the crux, they determined the rock was so unreliable that descending it would require them to take unacceptable risks. Their best chance of making it down alive, they concluded, would be to go up and over the summit, and then descend the other side, in keeping with their original plan. The sun was about to disappear beneath the western horizon when Tom and Willi strode together to the apex of the planet with tears in their eyes. After 20 minutes on top, they began their descent toward the South Col, following the faint tracks left by teammates Lute Gjerstad and Barry Bishop, who had ascended from the Col earlier in the day, reached the summit at 3:30 p.m., and headed down 45 minutes later after seeing no sign of Tom and Willi. Not long after starting their own descent, as the last of the daylight faded to black, Hornbein and Unsoeld arrived at the crest of the Hillary Step, the crux of the route taken by Sir Ed and Tenzing in 1953. For most of the past 3 decades, this nearly vertical, prow-like feature on the summit ridge has been more or less permanently rigged with fixed line, allowing modern climbers to avoid its difficulties on the upward half of the journey by ratcheting themselves up the ropes by means of mechanical ascenders, and then to securely descend the step on the return trip by rappelling the ropes. There were no fixed lines here in 1963, however, so Tom and Willi were forced to downclimb the difficult terrain, which they managed in near darkness, without even pausing to belay one another. Indeed, they dispatched this notorious pitch so perfunctorily that Hornbein didn't even bother to mention it when describing their descent from the summit in the penultimate chapter of this book. Perhaps the Hillary Step failed to make much of an impression on Hornbein and Unsoeld because its difficulties paled in comparison to what followed.